So what I'm going to do is go through all this small stuff, and I'm going to sort it out into what I think could be viable auction lots. And I'm just going to go through there and do that, and then I'm just going to kind of riff along here verbally while I'm doing it. But you can kind of have a feel for what I'm looking at and how I'm thinking. So these guys are these are like sash, for French windows. They're pretty nice. I think they're pretty new, but those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. Here's a pair of hinges. Okay, looking at these hinges. Not bad, not great. But look at this. Huh? Ay, ay, ay. That killed it right there. So those guys are going in the reject pile. Okay? Here's a bunch of nice little, what they call bin poles, brass. And in fact, on the back side, you look in there very carefully, you can see patent date. Find one I can read here. Patent date 1871. Maybe you can read that there. So that's a nice little group there, and that would definitely be an auction lot. Okay. Now we have some these are pretty nice. Those are very nice. Coat hooks. Those are nice, and they look to be what they call NOS. New old stock. That's what you want to hear in the business. So there's 4 of those. Well, that's good. One of those. Those were. I think they're all iron. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, these are iron too. They were. Those had a copper wash on them. These are pretty cool too. These are cast iron. So those are nice. There's 2 of those. There's a lot. Now here's a singular. Here's a nice singular one. So I'll probably put that with those 2. Okay. Here's a great little early keyhole escutcheon. Okay. This is 1860s, 1870s. This is a nice little item. This goes in the 20 of the 80 pile. There's another pair of hinges. These aren't bad. Nothing great, but they become a lot. Okay. Here's a mortise lock with a strike. Fancy front on it, okay? Has the key, okay? What do you get for a mortise lock? How many do you want? Dozens I have, okay? The world is full of these things. Look at the price sticker on this baby. Can you read that? $250. I don't know. Maybe somebody paid that. We're going to put it in the sale. What's your guess for the sale? My guess that deal will bring 35 to 40. Here's a little screen door setup. Pretty much, it had a keeper. We might find a keeper in here. Okay, they're hard to find because they always disappear. But a nice little knob and fancy little latch there. And this has a little plate that goes on the other side for a screen door, and that's nice. Except you don't have a keeper, but we'll put that separate. Some more sash lifts. Okay. Greek key motif there. Okay. Very popular. Doesn't mean they're from the 1840s or 50s. These are probably from, it could be the 70s, But Greek key, that's a design you see all the time. All right, some more bin poles here, folks. Yeah, real quick. Okay. All right, what do we have? I got 2 of these guys. No, I don't have 2 of those. I got 2 of these guys. I mean, these are nice. People collect them. At one time, I had over 200 different bin poles, but I sold them all. But one of the things we're going to do, blockchain hub is going to have like this virtual museum and library, and I have a whole catalog, illustrated catalog of bin poles. There must be 200 different designs in there, and I'm going to post that up there. But there's two. I mean, these are nice, nothing wrong with them. There's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and then these 2 here. Well, those 5 are iron. These are brass. These 2 are brass. No, I'm not sure what we're going to do there yet. I'm going to put those 5 together. Keep the brass ones separately. Oh, look at these guys. Here's something. Look at these. Have you seen these before? Very possibly. The doggy bin pole, okay? These are pretty cool. I'm not sure who made them, but believe it or not, they come in a couple of different sizes. They actually come in a size that's bigger than this. And B, not surprisingly, they were reproduced. So you gotta be real careful when you buy these things, if they're right or not. I mean, the way to figure it, you look in the back, and usually by looking, that's always, furniture. You look you turn it over, look at the backboards, pull the drawers out, look underneath the drawers. That's how you find out what's going on with furniture. The same with, especially cast iron or any cast metal, You just have to study it, study what is correct, and then when you see something and the bell goes off, usually you're correct. But you can usually tell because reproductions, recasting, just doesn't have the detail, doesn't have the feel, But anyway, I haven't had those in quite a while, so. That's pretty good. Oh, here's something pretty neat. I always like these. You know what these guys are? Look at that, a butterfly. 4 of them. What are these things for? Not only that, but they're dated on the back. You know what these are for? They're screen door brackets. Because screen doors were made out of real thin wood, and everybody bang the screen door, so pretty soon, that wood gets real funky. So you slide these guys on the corners of the screen doors, and it just stiffens them up real good. And sometimes there was another piece, because sometimes the screen doors had a piece across the middle, and there was a special bracket that connected that one as well. These are neat. I think I even put some of these on my chicken coop, I think, because they're not unusual, but they're pretty cool. And they're dated on the back. What's it say? Patented October 12, 1886. And that makes sense, 86. I was right in the middle of American aesthetic style. So there's 4 of those, and I like them, but they don't bring much in the auction, but we'll see. Here's something interesting. This is a door knocker. A woman's hand, she's holding this, what it looks like a cannonball or something, right? I don't know. Anyway, this is what they call the hand of Fatima. Who was Fatima? Well, Fatima was the wife of Muhammad. Okay, and when you go to Islamic countries, and after college, I was in the Peace Corps in North Africa, and I mean every other house had one of these door knockers. I was collecting stuff back then, but not doorknobs and stuff. But it was so common. I don't think anybody ever thought about snagging one because everybody had them. But anyway, I believe this is proper. I do think these things are being reproduced all over the place, and especially if you find them in brass. Almost always they're repros if they're in brass. which is actually a lot of stuff. If you see it in brass and you've seen it in iron, it's probably a repro. But this would take, if you want to put it on a door, it would just take any kind of you could just put any kind of a big nail head or something on there, for the tapper, But anyway, that's what that is. Okay. Here's a nice little thing here. This is kind of cool. This is a ringer dinger, right? This is a fancy one. This is probably, this is what we call American Free Classic. Some people call it Queen Anne. I mean, it's that. We'll get into that later on. But this is for ringing a doorbell. And you turn that, and this little spindle goes, so this is on the outside of the door. The ringer's on the inside. That goes in there, connects with some clockworks. And the clockworks spin around with a bunch of little teeth, and those teeth swing on these little teeny tiny balls that run around the bell. So it goes bring, bring, versus the older one. The older one, they went dong, you know what I'm saying? Just had a big thumper in there. So this is probably, like I said, this is about 1890. I mean, this is a good one. This is a real nice one. They make the same turn with a rosette, only sometimes it says down here, it says TURN, turn. But that's a nice thing. If you're into bells or if you need one, we have it. Okay, here we go. Now, this is actually quite nice. This is a little small mortise lock, okay? I don't know if it would have been for a cabinet or a very small door, but that is nice. And I should recognize that pattern. I should recognize that doorknob. I'm not sure. I mean, it's probably like Corbin, R&E, one of those, almost certainly. But even if it looks like it didn't have anything on the back. So what you did was you put this in the door, you put this through here like this, and you screwed that rosette onto the door. So then you could turn this, and it's spring loaded, okay? So you really didn't need to have anything on the back. But that, to me, that's a very nice little piece of hardware. And that definitely deserves its own auction lot. We'll see what it brings. Okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. What do we have here? What do we call these things? Call those things jam bolts. Okay, they drop into the door jamb and keep big doors firmly closed, okay? So actually, I think, I never looked at these quite before, but I'm looking at them now. And I think that one's the upper, one's the lower. Look at that. See, you had the one, and see, here's the, there's the keeper. That went into the floor, into the sill. Don't know if it was original, but it would work, who cares? Then, this thing sets up. This thing sets up like this, and you step on that, because what the hell, you're not going to reach down. You just step on that, and you push that in there like that. Then that drops down into this, okay? Now your door at the bottom is good and tight. Well, what do you do when you want to open a door? Well, you just take your boot and kick it, and there it goes. And you just hit that with your foot, and it pops back up again. Okay, so that's for the bottom. Now, here you go for the top. Now this one, the bottom one, classic, what would I say? Yeah, it's kind of what we call neo-Grec. I mean, maybe a little aesthetic. Could be late 80s kind of a thing. This is a totally different design, okay? Completely different design. And not that it matters, but This one is for the top of the door, okay? So now you're sitting there at the top of the door. Well, how do you reach the top of the door? Well, you have your handy dandy chain that drops down. So then you just, this thing it doesn't have a lock, so it stays like that. And then if you want to open the door, you just pull down the chain. So this would have been, what do we got here? They put a keeper on here, which I don't think is right, to be honest with you. I think that's for a cupboard catch. I mean, sometimes it depends how you set it up. Sometimes there's like a keeper on the face of the door that this goes in, and that probably would work. But sometimes it has a keeper like the other one too. Regardless, that's what this one does. So this is for the top of the door. And you know, if you have double doors, you might keep this on the one side, the left side, that you never really open unless you need to open, and then you pull down, open the door. And when you shut the door, it just automatically goes up and connects again. And the other one, you know, you have a spring loader, so it's open or closed all the time. Anyway, two of these guys, and I've sold plenty of these over the years. I don't know what that tag says. Oh, that's where the guy was thinking about using them in his house. Don't bring a lot, but hey, if you need them, they're great to have. I'm going to show you what we do here, because the goal is to prep this thing for, I'm making progress toward my options. I take the things that all those things are going to be lots, and I put them into each lot, and I think it's going to be a lot. I put it into a plastic bag. Doesn't really matter what or whatever. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take all this stuff we just looked at, put it in the plastic bags, put it into a box, and then we're going to have this table cleared for the next box of stuff. So I cleared everything off that we were looking at, put it in plastic bags in that cardboard box back there. And now we're going to look at this bunch of stuff. And starting with these guys, which obviously kind of went with those big window sash stopper things. They're new, but they're pretty good. So they're and they have the keepers with them. Okay, so somebody probably can use them. All right, we have these little guys. These are what we call thumb turns, and these go into a when you had a big exterior or entryway mortise lock with two keys, two keyways. This was on the inside, so you had a master key, and then you had the latch key. Okay, so this would work the master key from the inside, so you didn't have to put a great big key in it. Okay, a little complicated, but anyway, if you wanted to do the real deal and use those mortise locks, you need these. They're kind of cute. I guess people collect them. Here's a whole pile of, these are actually, this is what we call drop drawer pulls. Say that 3 times real fast. Drop drawer pulls. Why do they call them drop drawer pulls? Wow, look at that. So anyway, this actually has an interesting back plate. Most of the back plates I've seen are like round. So this I could go either way, I guess. Kind of like a horizontal. But these are nice. These are like 1880s. And, you know, something you've noticed. Maybe you've noticed. What word have I not said? Victorian. Okay? No such thing as Victorian in America. It was American. That's the whole thing. And so that's my whole deal about this antiques presentation. American antiques. Okay? And that's what we want to learn about. I mean, because I mean, this country was it was fantastic. The creativity and imagination, the amazing things that American designers, craftsmen, artists, manufacturers came up with. Unbelievable stuff. So when we see, and it's an American style, that's the whole thing. It's not Victorian style. I mean, think about it. Victoria was queen from what, 1839 to 1901, right? I mean, how many transitions did the United States go through stylistically, socially, economically between 1840 and 1900? Think about that. Anyway, if you ever read my book on stained glass, I'll show you a copy here one of these days. Maybe I'll show you right now. If I just happen to have a copy handy. Look at that. Anyway, that's me. Great glass in American architecture. That's what it's all about. But this book is all about American ingenuity, architecture, and all the social changes that went on between 1840 and 1920. And in this entire book, okay, filled with pictures, all kinds of great stuff here. So far, you don't see any color plates, but anyway, that window right there is in my office, in my backyard today. Anyway, in this entire book, I don't use the word Victorian once, other than to say it oughtn't to be used as an adjective for America's great design. Okay, back to this little bit of hardware here. I haven't seen it before. There's a pile of stuff within a box. Some of these door plates. Now, you people that appreciate hardware, have an understanding of hardware, kind of know what you're looking at as we're going through that. I mean, you would recognize that, and I think we have some doorknobs to go with them. So I'm going to put these over in the doorknob pile because we might match up a couple of knobs with them. So what else do we have? Nothing much. The thing is, you can kind of see what was going on. These are all later, but you can see, you know, that's solid cast. Now you could say, what is it? Is it brass? Is it bronze? This is probably early 20th century, late 19th. By the time they were making this, who the hell knows what metal they were using? It was a cheesy alloy, you know. But this is earlier. But this one's cast iron, okay? And it has a mark on the back like we were talking about. MW, Mallory Wheeler. Okay, great company. Great name in American antique hardware. Now this one is missing, what do we call that piece? That's the ferrule. It's missing that there on that. And this is cast as well. Again, it's thin, you know. By the time they were making these guys, and this, although, you know, you look at this is really kind of American aesthetic design. So what could you say? This could be the late 80s, early 90s. But they're definitely starting to cheese out on the quality. And then you have this, like this, typically. This is like definitely 20th century. I mean, there wasn't a lot of Art Deco in this country, but you could call that Art Deco. But check this out, see? This is just stamped. And they did a lot of stamped hardware, okay? This is a ferrous metal. I don't know what the alloy would be. Iron of some kind, you know? But, so these were later, but boy, you can see what happened to the quality. And so there's 3 more door plates. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, there's a good shot. I'm going to sell it all as one lot.